trading bell, my heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Listen now. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Listen now. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Every morning.
Okay. I think you can hear me. I'm just going to make sure that you can hear me. 2 days of testing, and it keeps changing. Let me see if you can hear me. Yep. Now you can hear me. That's my setup, by the way. Dogs in the bottom right. And then me in the extreme bottom right. But should follow me. Tracking. Good track. Good track. Ooh. Good track. And auto. There we go. I gotta hold up my palm. That's what it is. And hold up my palm for it to track. And yes, unacceptable. You had 2 days of testing. Yes, loud and clear. Oh, hey Jacob, you're welcome. This is my setup. I'll link to it a little bit, but I like, you know, the setup is pretty cool. It looks great from behind here. From in front, from like when you walk into my office, it looks fucking horrible. So, and I'm one that really likes structure, so, and cleanliness. So it's going to be a little, but this now I'm hoping that this light stays on. If you see the right hand side of me all of a sudden go dark, it's because I've got a light on a battery. So I think it'll work. I don't know. We'll see. But do some scans first. I'm going to have to get used to my notes are on my left hand side now instead of my right. Right there is the when I look in the thing, so you might see what I. Morning, Victor. Morning, Scott. Morning, Mark. Bum bum bum. Let's do some scans. I have a decent show lined up. More kind of just, hey, there's some stocks. If the scans provide us some stuff. It's a big week. I mean, it's NVIDIA, it's CrowdStrike, it's Sentinel-1. You got earnings this week with major players. I worry that Sachs, and I did some of these scans this weekend. Oxy probably needs to come out of the core portfolio. I'm not convinced Occidental Petroleum is the oil play. I think there's better oil plays out there. Okay. Good put. My iPad Pro is on the right hand side now. Still getting used to this. Brokerage holdings, VRT. Still hold VRT, unfortunately. ST. SQQQ. UCO is up 4%. That's from freaking Middle East. XLE crossed up. MPLX is great. Morning, Mike. MPLX, the reason that MPLX isn't coming out of the core portfolio, just Occidental is. Yeah, this is Facebook. Oh no, this is FANG. FANG inverse going down. Grab my water. See what's cool? Cracks me. And NVIDIA, the short gets a cost ETFs. Nope. Watch list. This runs so fast, by the way, versus my other. And yeah, there goes the light. Oh well. I'm going to do it without that light. Be lit on one side. Oh well. Nobody's joining for my freaking face anyway. Let's down. You're joining for my face, man. Look. Dow, American Express. Scott, I think you've got American Express. Goldman Sachs. American Express did pretty well off that little. It filled that gap that it had on that downgrade. I gotta figure out that. I don't know if it's the lighter. Bang. S&P. S&P. T. Tower. Dow. Goldman Sachs. We got everything. I mean, there's a lot of red in the core portfolio. Cleveland Cliffs is 1.73. Materials? Let's see. Materials does really well in the algorithm. 47% versus 14% if you just bought and held. Yeah, that's 89 to 92 in a freaking spider sector. Now, I would worry a little bit, just so you know, Jacob. This hit 92.31, so we're 92.30 right there. Take a look at that. Even if you bring it back here, it hit 90. At 92, are you extended? I mean, the MACD, the RSI here was at 60, say. The RSI here, where it was totally oversold, was 73. So you're getting it right now. The RSI is at 60. So you're getting up to that point where if you've got some profits in that one, that might be, like I said, Netflix. I mean, this is just a prime example of profit taking at $700. If you had a position that you got in at like $200 or $300, like I did, and you get to 700, which was the previous all-time high, and it got there, trim it. I mean, that's just a masterclass in, hey, trim it. And then you can buy it back once it gains some strength again. And you could buy it back at 720 if it still had strength. So, okay, let's open up some of these 3 AI stocks with long-term growth portfolio. Sentinel-1 in the earnings portion. Implied move of NVIDIA is 10%, 11% if you round up. Data center revenue by there. NVIDIA earnings day strategy from Trendspider. I have a quote from Seeking Alpha that I'm going to read about earnings. And this is the earnings week ahead. You've got NVIDIA, CrowdStrike, Salesforce, Lululemon, and more. I mean, it's a big earnings week. Stocks most loved and shunned by hedge funds and mutual funds. Hey, by the way, is my mouth synced up with the words? Just let me know in the comments. I had to alter the I think it is. I had to alter the sound with the video. There's a delay, long story short. Biggest stock movers of today. We've got this one, which the first rate cuts don't do well. And that's what these two tweets are about. And then this is Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. If you want some safety, we'll talk about stock index futures almost flat as we wait for NVIDIA, which we'll go over. Most undervalued stocks. That's kind of an interesting one. Kava and Sweet Greens had crazy good Fridays. Okay, good. I'm glad my mouth. By the way, it's been a year since I had my wisdom teeth out. This video, I'm going to post this video in, and you can't see this. I don't think you can hear that, but in my headphones. And I'll show off my my started out. Okay, so that's the entire thing. Yes, they now own Ulta, to my dismay. My dismay, they own Ulta, and I can't see my TV anymore. Like my TV, I used to be able to watch this screen and then kind of peek over while I'm talking and see what was going on. I can't see it. I can't see it. Make sure I have Linktree. And we're going to Q's. Okay. I think I've got everything. I hope this goes off. That's what I'm gonna. D-Man, you were on this weekend with me, so you're gonna hear the same. If you were on this weekend, you're gonna hear the same damn thing today. This is why I don't do weekend podcasts. It takes me the weekend to kind of think about stuff and look stuff over. But I mean, I'm no expert, dude. I'm just a douche on the internet who's seems to have a Rain Man style ability to pick stocks. That's what it is. I'm going to turn up the gain a little bit. I think my headphones are a little lower than they normally would be. But remember, I'm running off a different computer. My old computer's back here. Oh, hold on one second. I'm going to put you back on countdown. I'll be right back.
Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Listen now. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Every morning I wake up to.
Okay. By the way, when that happens, just by the way, what the plan is, I'm going to record some tip videos, like here's how you use Trendspider and blah blah blah. Oh. Okay. Tracking me now. I'm gonna. The camera tracks me as I leave the room, which is crazy. But the plan is to record some tip videos so that they'll play kind of as I walk away and need to do stuff. My housekeeper's coming, so I was just getting them ready there. Yeah. No, go over. September. Yeah. I think you're going to start to see some. I mean, I'm sitting in a larger cash position than I have been, and I've made a mistake. I got out too early, but you know, again, I got out. Well, I got out too late. I got too late. I should have gotten out mid-July in a lot of that stuff, and then gotten back in at the beginning of August to enjoy that nice bounce recovery from the Japan trade. So timing wise, this is kind of why you can't time the market. I mean, Chris, you put it perfectly in that, you know, is anybody rip roaring, oh my God, you've got to take your money out of cash and put it into the market right now? No. But typically in that scenario, you want to be bullish. So if your timeline is 5 to 6 years, don't get out. Don't get out on things that you want, you know, you may have huge profits on. Get out, slowly get back in, but, you know, you're not going to time the market. You're just not. You're just not. So, okay, let me go over. I'm going to start it out like this. I'm big in on. I don't have a huge position in crowd. I think it's like small 5 figures, maybe mid, somewhere in that neighborhood. I don't consider that huge. I consider that because CrowdStrike's a good name that you should be in for the long term. So that's why I don't consider it a huge thing. NVIDIA, I was shocked that I have 6 figures in that one, but it's not a top 5 holding, even though it probably should be. I do think, and I'll kind of, if I don't mention this, I'll mention this to you guys just before. I was listening to Gene Munster, and he said, hey, Blackwell, I think the street's going to hear the Blackwell news, and you're going to see a modest sell-off. Now, modest sell-off for NVIDIA could be the 10% implied downside from the options market. That's what it could be. That could be modest. But I think any downside creates a buying opportunity, and any upside creates, further upside. So, yeah, I think your time frame definitely matters. So, okay, I am gonna hit the recording button. I hope this records. God, I hope this records. If not, I think that the live version I could probably pull off from YouTube anyway. So, okay. Good morning and hello from Spaceship Gary. Yeah, I got a new setup. It's on screen if you want to see it. I got a 49-inch Samsung monitor, OLED, I think what it is. It's a gaming monitor. It's enormous. And yes, that's my current setup. The wires suck. The view of this sucks from the other side. I've got to clean this whole space up. I've got 2 ring lights. One is actually out. I don't know why. I might need to buy a new one. But I got a couple of lights in here. No new microphone. I'm running off my MacBook Pro. I may have some technical difficulties, so my apologies. I'm hoping that I can get this all straightened out. I did some tests, but it's just, you know, I love this freaking screen. Now, I can't see anything outside. I can't do anything, you know. That my first tip of the day is when you need something, go big. Go big. You know, again, like women always say, size doesn't matter. Size freaking matters. The other thing that I learned this weekend is it's healthy for men to sit down while peeing. TMI? I don't know. Go Google it. Ask AI about it. It's healthy for men to sit down while peeing. You're always taught that, yeah, masculine men who have been, you know, cuckolded, have been, they sit down to pee. Well, that's not true. It's actually healthy. So I'm old. I'm getting to that age, a little Flow Max during the season. When you're watching football games, you throw in a little Flow Max while you're at the stadium so you don't have to go to the men's room. It's all good. So let's talk about the market. So you saw my setup. I just showed you a screen of this, but this is the Qs. This is Trendspider. And when we look at the Qs, in the 4-hour algorithm, you can see just to the top of this, I'm including the performance chart now. You can see this. Performance chart is 55% when you go over 24 and a half months, 21 positions, and you make 55%. If you bought and held, you made 45%. I always say, if you don't sleep at night, you can trade on the 4-hour algorithm. If it comes anywhere close to buy and hold, trade on the 4-hour algorithm. And where are we? So I want to point out, August 1st, we started, okay, the open of August 1st was at 471. We're now at 479. So August may turn positive. It's speculative because we've got war in the Middle East. We've got Ukraine pushing into Russia. We have an election with hugely unpopular candidates. Nobody likes these two. Nobody. Everybody's picking the lesser of two evils. It's not like, gung-ho, oh my God, we've got to vote for this guy. And if you are, you're on the extreme of either party. Just understand, if you are for, like, gung-ho, you're on the extreme of either party. And there's nothing wrong with that. There really isn't. But you're on the extreme of that party. And I heard a great thing from Josh Brown this weekend when I listened to the Compound podcast. I heard him say, he lives in Long Island, and his net worth is 20, 40, 50 million bucks, whatever you want to read on the internet and whatever you believe. But he lives in a very exclusive place. And he said, his neighborhood, his neighbors never made more money, never bought more houses. They have their third house in Italy, their fourth boat that's docked down in Miami. And he said they've never been more flush with cash. And they'll show up to the country club and say, God, the economy's so bad. He goes, that's the person who's reading the news. That's not the person who says, I have more money than I've ever had in the bank. My third house, God, I got a mortgage for 6% on my portfolio value. That's the people that you hear. The people that you hear saying the economy's bad are not looking at the stock market, and they may be in a different position. But he said his wealthy friends, think of this. The wealthy people took out loans and have like 2% mortgage interest, and they refinanced during those 10 years. You had plenty of time to do it. I'm at 4.5. I missed the window. I'm dumb. I keep telling you guys this. I'm dumb. I missed the window. I'm at 4.5%. It looks like a great one, but that's average, and that's probably where we're going back to. But I'm at 4.5%. The smart people took that 2% mortgage, they refinanced their loan, they took equity out of their house, and then they threw it into equities. I'm sorry, not equities, but treasury bonds making 5%. You had that spread. And so you were able to take out a loan, pay that loan back, but get more cash back on tax-free treasuries or municipal bills. So those are the smart people. Those are the smart people. And those are the people that you're hearing say the economy is bad. How is Donald Trump saying the economy's bad? Dude's got more money than he has ever had in his life. In his life. He's richer than he's ever been in his life. So the economy's not horrible. But this is where you have to decide, okay? Remember, the Fed has two mandates. Jerome Powell came out and said this, and I'm going to read Dan Niles' statement. Powell's speech today is bullish for risk assets through year end. It is less hedged than expected and leaves the door open for rapid cuts in the rates with no use of the word gradual. The important parts of the speech, and this is a quote, my confidence has grown that inflation is on a sustainable path back to 2%. We do not seek or welcome further cooling in labor market conditions. The upside risk to inflations have diminished, and the downside risk to employment have increased. The time has come for policy to adjust. The direction of travel is clear. That was a Jerome Powell quote, okay? Here's what you have to make the decision of. Do you think unemployment is going to 5%, or do you think it's going back down to 4%? Because if you think it's going to 5%, you may be in the camp that we're actually weakening in the economy and that the rate cuts are going into a weaker economy. Therefore, the market may turn down. And we're not talking turn down for like 6 months. We're talking a reaction to labor numbers, to unemployment numbers that you hear every Thursday, to monthly unemployment numbers that you hear the first Friday of the month. We're talking about those numbers. And so if you think the economy is bad, then that's the time to trim. And when you look at the Qs right now, remember, we're teetering on a positive August. We're teetering. You got what, 3-4 days left in the trading month? And you've got this button hook here. Now, the Bollinger Bands are cinching up. You're on the upside of the 9-day. And we have huge, huge earnings coming out Thursday. So that's going to determine the direction of the market. And that's what you have to base your decisions on right now. And so if you're trying to rebalance, you know, you're afraid that, hey, every crash is coming in September and October, and we're seeing that, then you've got to make your decision. Do I pull out? And I don't mean to scare you, because if your timeline is 5 to 10 years, do nothing. If your timeline is, hey, I've made a lot of money and I just want to protect the capital, then maybe take some off the table. Because look at this seasonality. When you look at September, for the last 25 years on the Qs, only 44% of the time were we up. And the mean change was down 2.37%. So if that means that September is going to be down, you want to be buying in September. And that's my point, is when you see something like this, you want to be buying. So right now that we're even for August, maybe take that 120% gain that you had on NVIDIA. Maybe take 50% of that off the table. Maybe take the Qs when you're up 10% from this August 9th gain. Maybe take some of that off the table. You know, from buys that you had back here in January. Maybe take some of that off the table. I don't mean to scare you. I am a perma bull. I am 90% invested. I am normally 95% invested. So I've taken a little bit off the table. That's just the smart play. Okay? Now, every morning I get an email from Seeking Alpha Premium about the core portfolio. The top gainers on Friday were Tesla, NVIDIA, and Cleveland Cliffs. The top losers were Meta, Palantir, and Netflix. I will post this in the newsletter. The newsletter is 100% free. It's right here. So the weekend, yes, 5 technical trading indicators and strategies to help you take emotions out of the market. That's the key. Take emotions out of the market. This right here is a great, great indication. How do you do it? Well, you look at the charts. The charts have no emotions. When you see this button hook happening and you see the Bollinger Bands start to come together and you see the MACD that's super high and you see the RSI is at 61 going up, that tells you, hey, maybe there's some sellers that are going to show up and the big money is pulling back a little bit. So between Seeking Alpha Premium, the charts in my newsletter, I think you've got a perfect opportunity to have tools in your toolbox. So where can you get all this? Well, Trendspider, top link right here. Takes you over to the pricing page. You go over there, $53 a month you can get Trendspider for. And you get my 4-hour algorithm, which again, we said, makes you 53% on the Qs over 2 years. So if you want to take emotions out of the market, that's the way. Want to read the fundamentals of the market? You use this second link, Seeking Alpha Premium. $25 off and a free 7-day trial. That's the key. Free 7 days. Try it for 7 days. Import your portfolio. Get the grades that you want. You know, Netflix was upgraded from a hold to a buy in the quant. Ratings downgrade, SMCI, right into NVIDIA earnings. It went from buy to hold. This was a strong buy. It went from strong buy to buy, and now it's at a hold. We'll go over SMCI in a little bit, but we'll do it on Seeking Alpha. But again, $25. Say you just want a portfolio that's a winner. You got 2 choices on the portfolio, okay? The first is Alpha Picks. Alpha Picks is fantastic. Look at the performance, 114% versus 38% on the S&P. You get a pick on the 1st and the 15th. So we got one coming up next week on September 1st. And what they do is they just purchase it on the day, and then they tell you when to sell it. Okay, so it's a managed portfolio. It's not auto-managed. You still have to do the buying and selling. But this emails you and tells you, hey, this is why we're selling it. It gives you the full analysis. It doesn't say, hey, just buy this stock at this price. That's what Jim Cramer does. What Alpha Picks does is it provides you, and Jim Cramer is $7.99 a year, $799 a year, and he doesn't beat the S&P. Look at Alpha Picks, up 114% versus the S&P. They give you the data. So again, access to everything. If you want the quant rating for every stock, that's Seeking Alpha Premium. Okay? You don't get Seeking Alpha Premium with Alpha Picks. You just get Alpha Picks. But if you want a hand-fed portfolio, and we're going to go over 3 AI stocks from Steve Kress later in the show, we're going to go over that. 3 AI picks that he picked out based on the quant. If you want just the quant rating and just those articles, it's Seeking Alpha Premium. Okay? But those are the tools that I've got in my toolbox to look at. Now, a great video that I will include in the newsletter for free is Warren Buffett. I got rich when I understood this. It is 6 minutes and 26 seconds of absolute genius. And it's clips of Warren Buffett, but it's one clip that tells you how he got rich. It is a great, great video. One of the things that I talked about last week was the bond rates, the 20-year bond rates, how I had a meeting with my Fidelity advisor, and he suggested, hey, when bond rates go down, you want to be when rates are being cut, long-term bond rates, the actual value of long-term bonds will go up, while the rate goes down for long-term bonds. If you lock in, then you've got this long-term kind of bullish move. So what I wanted to look at was TMF. Okay, Tommy Monday Night Football. TMF. Tommy Monday Night Football. That's how I remember it. TMF. But TMF is a 3 times leveraged ETF on the 20-year bond. And this one might be an interesting play. I saw it on YouTube, and this particular small YouTuber said he was buying options dated out to January on this one. I don't do options, so I'm not doing that. But it's one that I want you to keep an eye on. TMF, and I will be keeping an eye on. Now, here's the thing. Remember, it's daily leveraged. So I don't want to do something that's crazy and just buy and hold this one forever. If I do buy this, I am going to buy it and I'm going to watch it probably on a daily basis. This is like your TQQQ. So just beware that this is a speculative play. I think it's a good one, but I want you to be aware of that. Now, over the next 2 months, SPY and QQQ, they're weak. They're weak. September's win rate, we went over this. For the last 25 years, 33%, minus 2.95. October, 17% win rate with a 3.62 average return. That's SPY. That is SPY. And QQQ does the same, just a little bit better. Beware. Again, I'm just kind of throwing that out there. I have trimmed some. I've been patient. It hasn't been fun sitting here while everybody's gaining 10% on NVIDIA. I've got some NVIDIA. I wanted more. Didn't buy more. I'm just nervous about it. Okay? Most undervalued Mag 7 stock is Amazon. Most undervalued fintechs, 4NU PayPal. Okay? Most undervalued cybersecurity, Sentinel and Zscaler. Sentinel, we'll talk a little bit. I've got an article on Sentinel about their earnings. They come out Tuesday. We're going to find out if Sentinel got a bunch of CrowdStrike customers. CrowdStrike reports Thursday. Sentinel reports Tuesday. We're going to find out on Tuesday whether CrowdStrike is a rip-roaring buy. And watch CrowdStrike as Sentinel. Sentinel's CEO has gone after CrowdStrike. Now, he hasn't been able to do it because he's in a quiet period. But it will be a crazy, crazy call to listen to. Undervalued companies, Airbnb, Celsius, and HIMS. By the way, I will be on, I think it's Tuesday and Wednesday at 2 p.m. I will be on Spaces on Twitter. Just so you know, I'll put that out there in the newsletter as well. Now, stock index futures, almost flat as rate cuts seem imminent. Eyes on NVIDIA earnings. This is the major news of the week. It's NVIDIA earnings that are coming out on Thursday. If you want some safety, I will tell you, if you want some safety, Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway is currently trading at all-time highs. It's now $30 billion from a $1 trillion. Here's his top 10 holdings. It's Lilly, it's Taiwan Semi, it's Berkshire Hathaway, it's Meta Platforms, it's Saudi Aramco, Amazon, Alphabet, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Apple. Now, he's got NVIDIA at number 2. I mean, that's just, again, That's, you know, that's how crazy NVIDIA could get. He's a long-term one there. These are I'm sorry. These aren't his top 10 holdings. These are the biggest companies. Sorry. The hell's wrong with me? I should go back and re-record this. These are the top 10 trillion-dollar companies. What the hell? It's number 8. Number 8. These aren't his holdings. But again, Berkshire, BRK.B, that's a safety in my mind. BRK.B is a safety. And we have an entry here at 434. It's at 453. You're still bullish. You know, RSI at 69. I'd probably wait for this one. You know, the algorithm makes you 15%. Buying and holding this one makes you 48%. It's one to just buy and hold. Look at his, you can take a look at the weekly chart. The weekly chart, it's just been soaring. This is the October lows from last year. The October lows, 335. You've made $100, 25% on this one. It's been crazy. And we talked about how this was going to be resistance. It did. It pulled it back last year. So when we're looking at some of these stocks that have run, like this one did from 2022 all the way up to September of 2023, you can see it used that as resistance, pulled back, ran right through it. So again, Berkshire Hathaway, I think that's the one. Now, when we talk about rate cuts, I want to put this into the thing. Powell's statements that the time has come for policy to adjust and the direction of travel is clear leave little doubt the further rate cuts will follow the first easing in September. Better late than never, said macroeconomics pantheon. In short, the inflation pipeline is very benign and the hard inflation data will continue to catch up to this reality. The Fed now has catch up to do. And that's the point. It has catch up to do. They are always late. Always late. Okay? First rate cut, January 3rd, 2001. S&P fell 39% in the next 448 days. Unemployment rose another 2.1%. Again, is the employment rate going to 5% or is the unemployment rate going to 4%? First rate cut, September 18th, 2007. S&P fell 54% the next 372 days. Unemployment rose another 5.3%. Again, are we going to 5% or are we going to 4%? These are just the numbers that present us. Rate cuts into a good economy are good. Rate cuts into a bad economy trigger panic. After the first rate cut of January 2001, the S&P got a 3.5 week bounce after already topping and dropping 19.5%. It lost 50%. Now, mind you, this was the dot bomb. We're not in the dot bomb. I don't expect 50% over the next year. But to the point, there's also a lot of risk in this market between Ukraine, Russia, the Middle East, the election. You've got a lot of issues in this market. But I think the key point for you to keep your eye on, it's not politics. It's not war. It is the unemployment rate going to 5% or 4%? And if it's going to 5%, then you want to just take some time and get some money and take some profits. You don't want to sell out of the market. That's not my point, and I'm trying to be clear on this. My point is just to be careful and maybe take some of those big profits off. Biggest movers today, XPEV surged 7%. We talked about how, let me see. Rate cuts typically are a struggling economy, better 95%. Housing benefit. Oh, housing. Yeah. Open Door soared 6% on Friday. And this is building on Friday's 11%. And this is rate cuts. So Open Door is a SPAC to the main grifter, Chamath Palihapitiya, who is, make no doubt about it, he is a grifter. He did all of these SPACs and then got out. Now, my algorithm in Open Door makes you 93% over 24 and a half months versus losing 54%. That's a huge swing. Right now, the algorithm has you in at $1.75 per share. Now, if you had timed this, it was great. August 13th. You're up a great 31%. Okay? That's a great gain. In pre-market, you're at 223. You're up 3.53%. RSI completely extended at 63. MACD just crossing up on the oscillator. Your volume, enormous. Your volume is enormous. If we pull this back to this gap, okay, there's a little gap up here on the last earnings. If we pull that back there, where are people holding? There's still people holding above here. There are still people holding above here. They haven't sold. So where do I expect this one to top out at? Probably 280. Probably 280. I think you're going to see it. Another one with the real estate, Redfin, up 68% in 10 days. 68% in 10 days. Now, neither one of these would I even recommend. But Sirius also rose. That was a clear one. They were voting this weekend. But let's look at Open Doors. It's a strong sell in the quant. This is one you want to trade. It's not one you want to buy and hold. Okay, their growth is horrible. Their profitability is horrible. Asset turnover, horrible. Cash from operations, they're just not making money. Redfin is one you want to be careful of as well. It's a sell. The valuation is horrible. The valuation of these companies is horrible. It's up 18% on Friday. It's up another 4%. But again, these are hype plays. So you want to trade this one. So, let's see. Open, what is this one? Oh, most undervalued stock. Have you bought Amazon? We talked about this one. Amazon, 200-day reclaiming earnings fill gap. Have you bought it yet? Because I said on this one, I bought it. I sold it at 176. I think I bought it 174 again, somewhere in that neighborhood. But this gap fill up to 181, it filled it. And it's now pulling back. Where's your support? Probably 174. It's at 176. So, again, I like Amazon. I like it a lot. These are stocks that are most loved and shunned by hedge fund and mutual funds. And I pulled out a quote. There are 8 stocks that appear in Goldman's. These are the shared favorite stocks, okay? It's CRH, Progressive, Insurance, Visa, Fiserv, Uber, Workday, MasterCard, and United Health. I have United Health in the core portfolio. Uber is in the core portfolio as well. The rest are not. But these are the ones. This is an article that basically highlights most loved and shunned by hedge funds and mutual funds. It's a great article. I liked it. Earnings week ahead. Okay, we're going to go into earnings now. The earnings week ahead, you have tons and tons of earnings. My favorite website, Earnings Hub. Okay, so you can see the earnings week ahead has some big names. So you've got Sentinel One, like we mentioned. You've got Chewy, which probably presents a pretty good opportunity if they continue to beat. On Wednesday, you've got NVIDIA. This is the big one. Salesforce, CrowdStrike, HPQ, which we talked about with Dell. They're in competition with Dell and with SMCI. You've got Okta. You've got Affirm. This is the big day. That's the huge day, okay? Sentinel One is going to set up Thursday, which is going to set up Wednesday, which is CrowdStrike. So you want to be watching on Tuesday afternoon for Wednesday. After the close on Thursday, you have a ton as well. You have Dell, you have Marvell, you have Lulu, you have MongoDB, you have Ulta, which Warren Buffett just bought into. It's a huge 3 days. Now, Best Buy is an interesting one. I mean, I shop at Best Buy. I bought, I almost bought my TV at Best Buy. I didn't, but I almost did. Their expectations are down. The revenue, you can see it's trending down. Earnings per share hasn't been great. So, again, the price, when you look at the chart, it's up there. This one could, if the consumer's hurting, this one could get hurt. But you want to take a look at the earnings. Now, Wall Street Brunch, the granddaddy of all earnings. This is a great, they have a podcast, and their podcast is like 7 minutes. It's good. It comes out every morning. I don't listen to it, but I do think they do a good job in this stuff. They had told me that they were going to start this. I don't know if they were fishing for hosts or guests or what. I may be on there at one point in time, but this is Wall Street Breakfast. And this is basically they go over NVIDIA earnings, and it will dictate the week. I mean, let's go over some of NVIDIA stuff, okay? NVIDIA earnings, it's a buy the news event. Here's a strategy from Trendspider. Here's what it looks like if you bought NVIDIA on earnings day and exited 5 candles later. Okay, over the last 2 years, you make 101% total return. Okay, 71% of the time, after 5 days, you win. Your average return per position is 10.96%. You can build that strategy in Trendspider. You can say, enter me on earnings day into ChatGPT. I went over it this weekend. You can put a ChatGPT prompt in there and say, enter on earnings, exit 5 days later, and see what you get. You can build that easily in Trendspider, easily. Analysts expect NVIDIA to report revenue of $28.7 billion, operating profit of $18.8 billion, and earnings per share of 64 cents per earnings. We can go and look at the expectations here. Now, here NVIDIA, they reported $6.12. Estimate this time 57 cents. So it's down. It's because of charges and things of that sort, and don't expect this to be a huge mover. The big mover is going to be the Blackwell announcement. According to Seeking Alpha analyst, who is bullish on the stock, the delay in shipping of Blackwell GPUs due to certain design flaws intensified the recent correction in the stock price. The fear is that such delays could create windows for rivals like AMD and Intel. That's the fear. So if you look at NVIDIA, if we look at this chart and they come out, I mean, I'm going to go to a weekly chart because we talked about how every time it's dipped below that 21 day or touched that 21 day, that it was an opportunity for the last year or two. I mean, this is January 2023. This was, a year and a half ago. You were at $16 a share. Okay. You've, 10 times your money. You put $1,000 in here at $16 per share. You're at $10,000 right now. That's how huge this is. Okay. That move is enormous. And every time you've gotten below that 21 day, it was a buying opportunity. You can see from the 2019 all the way up until 2021, this was a clear winner. And then you had this downturn of semiconductors. And then all of a sudden AI comes in. We're in the first inning of AI. That's what everybody says. First inning. If this is the first inning, this is going to continue to grow. I mean, and that this pattern is clear. If you want to buy it, on earnings day, buy it on earnings day. So here's NVIDIA's revenue by segment each quarter over the last couple of years. This, again, look at the green line. The green line is data center, and Google got hit with spending too much money. Meta got hit with spending too much money. Microsoft got hit with spending too much money. Amazon got hit with spending too much money. Those are companies that have spent in the past and it's worked out. Where is all that money going? It's going to NVIDIA. Remember, because of the software issues, they can't just stop adding NVIDIA and start adding AMD, start adding Intel, start adding others. Nobody's adding Intel. Nobody. They're going to add Qualcomm. They're going to add other chips. Intel, everybody's tossing that out the window. Don't think that Intel has an opportunity here. They don't. They don't. And because NVIDIA has the software that's tied to their chips, they have a moat. So again, when you hear everybody spending, that's the crazy part. They're spending on NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA has a 10.9% implied move. It's a largest over the last 10 quarters, headed into earnings. Over the last earnings, NVIDIA had beat its implied move frequently. Are you buying or selling? I'm not selling. I'm not buying. I'm sitting put until the earnings. If it pulls back, I'm buying more. If it starts soaring, I'm probably going to buy more. I mean, and then you say, well, why don't you buy more now? Got enough. If you don't have a position in NVIDIA, you should. That's the whole point. Okay? Now, let's talk about SentinelOne. This analyst, platformization and second quarter earnings preview. His rating of publication is a hold on this one. We can look at the stock chart because if CrowdStrike is to lose a bunch of customers, it's probably to SentinelOne. And you've got this nice rally going on from 21 to 24. That's a big move. Okay, that's a huge move. You've got this gap up here to 27. Probably gonna hit it. Again, you've got a golden cross. You've got good news in this stock. When we look at a weekly, we have just made a turn. The 50-day has started to turn positive. You got this huge downturn here on earnings. We've made some move. They've made some changes, okay? This article goes into it, the platformatization. Now, Palo Alto said the platformatization is working. Does Sentinel-1? I don't know. We talked about, at the beginning, I said I would bring up 3 stocks with long-term potential. This is AI Mania helped fuel the rally earlier this year. AI Bellwether, NVIDIA are on deck. SA Quant identified 3 strong buy AI stocks with high growth. Steve Kress is in charge of the quant, okay? I'm going to give you the first one, Seagate Technologies. Market capitalization 21.95, okay? This is very similar to the analysis that you get when you buy Alpha Picks. Very similar. It just goes more in depth when you get Alpha Picks, okay? But this is the type of stuff that you get. And I like this article. Some of these, they're smaller cap stocks. They could get exploding. But again, you want to take a look at that. Let's see. Seagate is STX. Take a look at this because usually identified by the quant, they're in upward trajectories. Yeah, you're in an look at that 200-day. Okay, the algorithm makes you 31%. Buying and holding makes you 31%. Doesn't matter. Got you in here at 96. Okay, you win 43% of the time. That's great because your average win is 7%. Do you want to get in here today? Well, if your average win is 7% and your past earnings, and this is up 8%, I would say no. I would say you don't want to get in today. The MACD looks like it's about to cross down. The RSI is looking at 58. So do you want to buy today? No. You put it on a watch list. You put it on a watch list. I think that one's interesting. I like that article. I like it a lot. Oh, that's my setup. I was just showing my setup again. Let's go to social requests. Ryan, do you think Microsoft will be able to stay near the top of the tech companies in the long run? I wrote to Ryan, I said, I'll add it to Monday. The true answer is only the market knows. No expert will tell you 100% for sure things are going to go up. But it's in my top 3 holdings, so I'm positive. So, Ryan, I don't know what's going to happen. Microsoft could come out, OpenAI could explode. Sam Altman could, just all of a sudden decide, you know what, I'm taking all the OpenAI stuff and I'm going my own way. Microsoft will sue, but they lose their position in AI. Windows 11 could all of a sudden, the CrowdStrike thing. Oh, it's because of Windows 11. You don't know. So look at how Microsoft performed. If you go to a year, let's go to a monthly chart because I'll show you how you performed from 2000. Okay, you were trading at 51. By March 2009, you were down at 15 in a stock where every operating system of every computer in the world had Microsoft, okay? There were no options back here, but the stock continued to go down because of DOJ and this was the bomber era. It was horrible for the stock. But if you held on to it from 54, like I did, and it went down, I never got rid of it. And now I should have traded it during this time, yes, but I held on to it, and I'm glad I did. Because at 51, I 10 times my money. Now, it took me 24 years, 10 times my money. There were better places to put my money. But do I think it's going to continue? I think so. When you take a look at Microsoft in the quant, okay, we'll go over to Seeking Alpha and we'll look at it. Wall Street thinks it's going to continue. Wall Street has a $499 price target on it. Now, they've chased it up and it's pulled back down. So in my mind, this is an opportunity to get into the name. It's not a great valuation. You're not getting it at a discount. Its growth is okay because they're spending so much money on AI. The profitability, fantastic. 69% growth market. The momentum's probably the number one thing in the market. And you take a look at it, it's not great. It's down 2% over 3 months. Revisions, 11 earnings per share up, 32 down in the last 90 days. 17 up on revenue and 29 down on. Again, my point is I don't know. It's in my top 5%. If somebody tells you, oh, absolutely, you're going to buy it, either they own the stock and they're talking their own book, or they have some type of insider information, or they're just lying to you. One of those three things. It's one of those three things. Nobody knows. Trey from I think it's from Spotfiy. Thoughts on Powell? I bought it at $150, but it's been on crazy tear recently. I wrote it's an alpha pick, so they go over it in far better detail. Again, if you want alpha picks goes into far more detail than I will ever be able to do to go over Powell. Okay, I'm just going to go over the chart and kind of how the quant sees it. But it's still in, and it's one of the top winners in Alpha Picks. Alpha Picks picked this one years ago. Okay, if we take a look at the weekly, Alpha picked this one back in, I think, 2022. It was trading at 28. Okay, you 10 times your money almost. They have done phenomenally well. Typically, this weekly pattern, see how the Bollinger Bands are cinching up, and then you're getting an expansion of them? It's trading on top of the 9-day. So do I think it's got room to run? I do. But Trey, your guess is as good as mine as to where it's going to go. Because when we look at the fundamentals of this one, we can see the quant says it's a strong buy. The valuation's not crazy. It's got an 18 PE. The PEG ratio, because they're growing, it's 1.45 going forward. The sector is 1.8. Revisions, everybody's revising up, but there's only 2 analysts that cover this. Okay? When you go to Wall Street, they say it's a hold. Their average price target is 181. Have forewarning, though. There's only one analyst. One. When you look at Seeking Alpha, there's 5 analysts, okay? 2 buys, 2 hold, 1 sell. And when you look at this, look at where Amrita said sell. She said sell, and since she said sell, it's up 22%. This one, hold. Since they said hold, it's up 7%. This one, since they said buy, okay, it's up 38%. When this one said hold, it's up 37%. When this one said buy, 23% up. When this one said buy, it's up 24%. And you can see all these people. Look at this one. This Xinyu Ru. He said strong buy in March 20th, 2024. When you're a Seeking Alpha analyst, and Steve Kress said buy February 7th, 2024. February of this year. Okay? He's up 48%. He's the head of the quant team. He's one you want to follow on Seeking Alpha. When you go over here, you hit follow. Steve Kress is one you want to follow. Okay? Or Powell, I think it's a good one when we look at the 4-hour on this one. And again, I would say it's a long-term buy and hold. The algorithm makes you 606%. Buying and holding makes you 618% over 2 years. 618%. Okay? What's 1,000 times 618%?
Answer is 6,000.
There you go. $1,000, $6,180 in 2 years. That's how you do it. Again, it's an alpha pick. I would say it's far better buy and hold. Let's take a look at some of the scans. This is where I use my 4-hour algorithm, and I scan the core portfolio, all the watch lists that I give you when you sign up for Trendspider. You email me, and I give you all of this. Now, Goldman Sachs, this is another bullish run that it's got set for. This one was a buy at 491. The algorithm makes you 45%. You make 44% if you buy and hold. I think because it's part of the core portfolio, I think you want to own it. It's one of the greatest financials out there. The algorithm, it takes emotion out of the game. When you take a look at this, okay, August is a 50%. It's a coin flip. It's not one of the strongest months. Now, July was one that where, you wanted to sell into that strength. You want to buy in these months. Okay, Goldman Sachs, you want to buy in these months because look at October. Look at November and December. These are 3 of the strongest months of the year. So if you're looking to trade Goldman Sachs, trade it. Occidental Petroleum, it's a 1.3 up 1.38%. I got out of this one. I think this one's going to trade again under 60. You can buy it. And I think over 60, you buy it into strength. Right now at 57.16, that you buy it into that strength. I think you buy it into that strength. Again, I think it's going to turn around. When you look at the weekly, it's just in this freaking gap. And I don't like to, I was holding this one. I was adding to it. It can't get out of its own way. Now, when it gets over 70, that's when you want to look to buy it. When it gets under this 56 mark, that's where you want to buy it, but you want to keep tight controls, because if it gets under that 56, look out below, because the only support level that you have on this one is the 200-day, and that's at 50 right now. So again, because Warren Buffett's buying that one, that's an interesting one. I don't know if it's one you want to get into. Now, part of our watch list, VRT. This is Vertiv Holdings. This is an interesting one. I mean, you know, it's trading underneath where the support level is. This old support turns into resistance at $90. Is it one you want to buy? We can go over and take a look at this one. VRT. Is it one that you like? Well, it's a strong buy from Wall Street. When we go and look at Wall Street, 14 analysts, they think it's a $101 stock. I'm in on this one at like 85, 86, somewhere in that neighborhood. The only problem is it's an F. This is an industrial electronic components. I wish I had picked Powell. Honestly, I wish I had picked Powell. It's the number 2 in this industry. So, but both VRT and Powell are on the watch list. I wish I had picked Powell. A spider sector got an upgrade. Most likely, this is because of the Middle East. And we gapped up. The market is now open. It's 9:41, and you can see this little green candle right here is where you're at. Algorithm got you in on Friday at $90.48. So if you had the algorithm, you would have gotten a trigger on Friday to say, hey, XLE you want to buy. And it's at 90.49. You could have looked and gone into XLE here, and you could have gone to Seeking Alpha, and you said, okay, let's see what the holdings are. Well, the number 1's Exxon. Number 2 is Chevron. Let me take a look at these and see which ones I want to own. XLE, great performance. You know, you make 4%. If you bought and held this one, you made 15%. The only reason is, look at this one. If you go back 2022, May 2022, this one's been in a range. It's been great to trade. You know, you can see, I do think that 101 is going to be, 93 is the current resistance. It's not one you want to buy, but when it gets over that 93 and starts to use this 93 as resistance, that's a 7% move up there to 101. And I think that's where you're going. Again, I think energy is going to be a big mover in this economy. One that got a downgrade, but then all of a sudden comes back with a couple of buys now, is American Express. You can see this buy here, 238 right here, and it went and covered the gap down. It got a downgrade from 251 down to 249, and now it covered the gap. Now you're in this current move. This has been in a range since 2022. We just talked about Occidental Petroleum in that range. Look at this range. This was in there for a while, and then it broke out. Now, this old range, this old high at 200, that's your support level. That's your support. I don't think American Express is going anywhere. You can see from a weekly standpoint, the RSI is super, super high. Do you want to buy this? I don't know. Again, we're at all-time highs. When you look at the seasonality of this one over the last 26 years, September's down. Wait till September. So I do think that everything that I see points us to patience. And that's what I've been preaching, is patience. I don't know where the market's going. I do have FOMO myself. Yes, I have absolute FOMO because I've seen these stocks go up. My portfolio is going up a little, not as much as it could be. So I do have FOMO. The point is, I haven't sold out. I've trimmed a little bit. You've taken profits. If you've got some losers, rebalance. Because my fear is that we get into September and we see an August employment number that makes Powell go half a point. And that makes the market react a little bit more thoughtfully. So that's it for the podcast. Hopefully this worked out. You can see on my face, by the way, if you're looking at this, the webcam actually tracks me. So it's kind of cool. I like it. So it's a new setup. I hope to have this out on time. Thank you all for your patience. Thanks for everybody who joined me on the trials this week. And I'm going to try and get some paid stuff out there this week as well. So if you want, sign up for the newsletter. Everything's at the link tree, linktr.ee/daily stock pick. You can see Trendspider seeking alpha premium, alpha picks. You can join Webull. Webull took the place of my sports betting. We have NFL season coming up. I will be sitting on the couch betting on stocks during the week, so that on the weekend I can sit and enjoy the NFL. If you want, you can get Visible, AT&T. I have AT&T fiber at my house. If you want, we talked about great portfolios. If you want to follow a great portfolio, this is free. It's the core portfolio. It's Daily Stock Picks core portfolio. It's on Savvy Trader, okay? So go to the link tree and follow this. It's 35 names, okay? Take a look at the performance. If we just compare this to the Qs, you can see it's outperforming the Qs over 1 year. 1 year, I'm up 47%. This is just, I would never suggest somebody manage their portfolio this way. But again, it's 100 shares. When I put a name in, I get 100 shares. When I take a name out, I sell 100 shares. When NVIDIA split back in August, I had to sell 900 shares of NVIDIA. What moron would do that? Again, let's see the price that I sold at. Let's see, view more. Because, you get all these dividends and stuff like that. Let's see, NVIDIA paid a dividend. That was July 3rd. When did I sell NVIDIA? Where's the sale? I know I sold it. Let's see, maybe it was United Health declared NVIDIA, maybe it was June? I think it was June 9th. Yeah, there it is. I sold 900 shares of NVIDIA. Brilliant move at 132. Brilliant move. Again, sell the news or sell the event. I had to sell 900 shares of NVIDIA. But, again, if I had just bought back those 90 shares of NVIDIA, if I just bought that back, would have been great. Would have been great because I could have gotten it at 100. So that's it. Okay. I will talk to you guys on Tuesday, tomorrow. Yeah, bye. Okay. I have a rest after walking to the pot. NVIDIA SMCI. What are they doing? I didn't talk about SMCI. I meant NVIDIA at 130. It's popping right to that 130 and pulling back to 125. SMCI's up. Let's see. Yeah, you've got a good insight into the economy, D-Man, at Home Depot. Yeah, I like Celestica, I think it is, CLS, and Royal Caribbean's just crazy. Hey, Jay Cruz. Fiverr. Yeah, Fiverr. Donnie. Hopefully you're still here, Donnie. Fiverr's one that I have used Fiverr twice, and I've enjoyed it. The problem is the valuation. And so when you look at this one from a long-term perspective, the earnings just haven't kept up. Now, it's gone pretty well. You can see it's traded pretty evenly here. I do think that as the economy gets weaker and unemployment goes up, I think you start seeing Fiverr getting used way more often. And that's just a guess on my part. You can take a look at the weekly. I don't think that you've moved positively enough to declare it a buy and hold instead of just a trade. And I say that knowing that I like the product and you could bet on it long term. But when you look at the valuation of this thing, when you look at the PE, it's 12. But their growth is where it's going to be questionable. If we get into a recession and Fiverr's not being used, then you've got a problem. But I don't think it's a bad one to be in. Am I owning this one? I mean, that's where I'm kind of like, I don't know that I love it, but I don't know that I hate it either. And so I kind of live in the world of, let's see who's had a good record on this. You can see they moved it to a hold. It's down 4% since then. They moved it to a hold. It's up 27% since then. That person, Gary Alexander, probably not great to listen to. This one had a buy. It's up 14%. Master of Coins, sell. Michael Wiggins, hold. It's up 20%. And this is why I say I think Fiverr is confusing a lot of people, a lot of analysts. You know, again, when you look at the valuation of this thing, the PE would say, hey, it's great. But the forward stuff, you know, it's when you look at revisions, B minus, 4 up, 1 down. Let's look at what. There's 10 that cover it. That's not a lot. 70%, $31. It's a 17% upside. I'd probably stick with the, you know what might trade this one well? The 65-minute trade this one. Nah, it doesn't trade it well at all. It has you out on the 65-minute, by the way. I don't know what to guide you on this one just because it's, I think it's confusing. And I think that, you know, again, a strong jobs market. If everybody's at work, what are they doing on Fiverr? So, Donnie, I'm sorry I can't help you on that one, but that's as best as I can do. It's one that I've traded in the past. I haven't of recent though, and it's because I just don't know how to kind of look at that business. You know, is Fiverr? I've hired 2 people off of Fiverr, both great experiences. And it was for small stuff. It was for, not for this podcast, but it was for consulting work where I basically got a consulting fee and I hired somebody to do the work that I thought would do it well. I mean, this was, you know, I did have to take it and alter it slightly for the client, but it was good. It was creative stuff. So it was, and let me make this a little bit more clear, and I want to make it less. I'm being ambivalent because I'm not really a consultant. This was a friend's business that needed some marketing help. And so I went on Fiverr and did some creative work, got some creative work done within a budget. I got paid not knowing that I was going to get paid. Put it that way. So and I don't want to go into it more, but Fiverr was great. And it was 2 times, both times, you know, they came to me and said, hey, can you help us? And I said, yeah, sure. No problem. And went on Fiverr and they think I'm a genius. Chris, eye roll. I get an eye roll all the time. I think when I was on, when I was on yesterday, Chris, I think you were there. I was on last night testing stuff out, and my girlfriend just fell asleep with the dogs on the couch. Well, I told you, nobody listens to me in this house. I think the podcast went okay. Now, I do have to, you know what's nice? Hold on. I can open up, I think you should see this, but I can open up iMovie, and in the middle of this, I don't have to this it. Oh, this suck. So my apologies. The podcast audio is gonna suck. On that audio. The audio is good. I hope it. I'm hoping it'll get. File. Oh, let's see. 6. Holy crap. 3 hours. Ugh. Oh. Wow. That's harsh. Kudos to her. Those are tough shifts. The market's open. Live stream used to allow me to go back and listen to you while you are in air. Now it doesn't. Maybe the setting has changed? I don't think so. But I don't think I changed anything on my settings. No, you know what? It doesn't allow me either. I used to be able to slide. Huh. Yeah, I used to be able to slide too. I'll look. I don't think that's a setting that I have set, but I'll take a look. And now the damn fans come on. Wow. Okay. I got to get off here. It's 10 o'clock. Yeah, I used to be able to rewind as well. I'll look into that. I'll look into the rewind. I'll look into, I think the audio sucks on the recording, and I'm not sure why. Let me see, output recording. I got to get off to actually change some settings. Won't let me. That's weird. She's right. I used to be able to use the thing back as well. Okay, I'll look into it. I don't know why it doesn't allow me. Perform. Oh, for informational purposes only. Yeah, you can't do any of that. You can pause. But even if you pause, you can't go back. You have to watch it continuously. Huh. Yeah, I didn't know that was a setting that I had control over. I'll look at it. Maybe it's OBS restricting it or something. But I got to look at a bunch of stuff because I got to set up this old computer so I can look at the settings on the old computer, just so I can look at it. But Okay.